Okay, close the door behind you.
The viral outbreak had already swallowed the cities, leaving only evacuation convoys to pull the last survivors toward the quarantine safe zone known as Harmony. That night, a long line of buses crept through the snow-covered road, engines rumbling in the cold air. Inside one of the buses, fear simmered silently between the passengers. No one spoke. No one dared to breathe too loudly. Without warning, the convoy jerked to a stop a few hundred meters from Harmony's gate. The lead soldier got off to investigate, disappearing into the darkness. Minutes passed, then more minutes. Finally, the officer still on board attempted to contact him through the radio. No answer, only static. Concerned, the officer stepped out, calling the soldier's name into the frozen air. He didn't get far. A figure suddenly staggered out of the shadows, the missing soldier, but something was wrong. Before the officer could react, the soldier lunged forward and bit into his neck. Screams erupted from inside the bus. The infected soldier scrambled toward the door, but Jack and Patrick braced their shoulders against it, forcing him out before he could climb inside. Moments later, the infected man vanished into the night. Jack knew he couldn't keep the passengers safe without a weapon, so he made the reckless decision to retrieve the officer's gun. He moved slowly, every muscle tense. Just as he reached the officer's body, it jerked violently. The dead soldier suddenly rose, snarling and lunging at it. Jack fired out of instinct, dropping the creature again, but the sound echoed through the area. From afar, more infected soldiers emerged, shambling toward him. Jack slid under the bus, holding his breath. Inside, chaos spread like wildfire. People trampled each other trying to escape through the back window. Zombies poured in through the broken windows and the door, biting anyone they could reach. In the madness, Patrick tried desperately to reach his wife, Emma, but a zombie lunged and shoved him out of the bus. Patrick smashed its skull repeatedly against the metal until it stopped moving. Nearby, Emma, clutching her baby, fled through the snow and hid in a jeep. She locked herself inside, believing she was safe, but a zombie soon crawled onto the hood and smashed its hands against the windshield. Another approached her door. She screamed and fought back, but suddenly Jack appeared, shooting the zombies one by one. When Emma's terrified eyes dropped to the blood on her clothes, Jack and Patrick quickly checked her. No wounds, but when they looked again, they froze. The blood was hers. She had been bitten on the arm, and there was nothing they could do. 9 years later, the world had become a frozen graveyard. Patrick trudged through the snow-buried city alone, rifle slung across his back. He hunted a lone horse wandering between abandoned cars, shot it cleanly, and loaded the carcass onto his snowmobile before returning home. In the next house over, Lou watched him from the window and told Jack. He killed another animal again. While Patrick cooked the horse meat he'd harvested, Jack prepared dinner inside his house, opening cans of beans, one spoiled with fungus, one barely edible. That night, Patrick tried the radio again, pretending he had company, even though silence answered every call. Through his binoculars, he watched Jack tuck Lou into bed, whispering a goodnight wish he longed to say aloud. Jack woke the next morning to an empty bed. Panic surged through him until he found Lou in the kitchen. She thought she was being helpful by starting breakfast. Jack scolded her gently. There were rules, and she had to follow them. When he gave her a cookie, she hid it in her pocket and asked for another one, for later. Outside, Patrick's dog barked. Lou offered the dog her hidden cookie, and soon noticed a hole the dog had dug under the fence, large enough for a creature to crawl through. Later that day, Jack taught Lou multiplication. Afterwards, he practiced shooting cans while Lou played nearby. She begged to try shooting, but he firmly refused. She complained that she was too old to be playing with dolls and asked him to play with her instead. As they played, Patrick returned from a supply run. Jack saw him, but didn't greet him. That night, Jack handed Lou a box of her mother's belongings. Before he could explain, Patrick blasted birthday music from his speakers. Lou assumed it was for her and smiled brightly. Patrick had baked a cake for her, but couldn't bring it over because of his tense relationship with Jack, so he fed it to his dog instead. Lou later asked Jack what birthday parties were like before the world ended. Were there other kids? Jack hesitated, but admitted that back then, yes, children played together. Lou frowned. She had never seen another child. She barely remembered her mother. She asked if zombies were real. Jack replied, they once were, but the cold wiped them out. But that night, Lou woke from a nightmare, heard the dog barking, and looked outside. A pale, frost-covered zombie stood just beyond the fence. The next morning, Lou hid under the bed, terrified. Jack crawled under with her, reassuring her it was only a dream, but she insisted she was awake when she saw it. Jack didn't believe her. He should have. Later, Lou placed one of her dolls at the hole in the fence, her idea of keeping monsters out. Patrick noticed her again and warned her not to feed his dog cookies. Jack rushed out, accusing Patrick of getting too close to her and threatening to shoot the dog. Patrick snapped back, telling him to shut up. During a supply run inside a warehouse, Patrick discovered bloody animal remains just before a zombie attacked him. He fled with his dog, locking the creature inside. During the escape, he crashed into a fallen tree. Meanwhile, Jack finally allowed Lou to fire a gun. The recoil knocked her down, but she loved the experience. The zombie caught up to Patrick, but to his shock, it didn't sense him. It was blind. A distant gunshot distracted it, sending it running. Patrick chased after it. Back at home, Jack saw something move near the fence. Before he shot, Patrick appeared, shouting for him to run. Patrick ran over the zombie with his snowmobile but fell off. The creature attacked him. Jack aimed, trying to shoot, but hesitated. His delayed reaction cost them dearly. The zombie bit Patrick, then killed his loyal dog before running off when Patrick managed a lucky shot. Patrick, sobbing over his dog, returned home and tried to kill himself, recalling how Emma once begged him to cut off his infected hand. He fainted instead. When he woke, someone finally answered the radio. The voice claimed Patrick wasn't turning into a zombie and accused Jack of abandoning him. The next morning, Jack locked the house, expecting Patrick to transform. Lou insisted Patrick wasn't infected, and she was right. Jack had ignored every warning she gave him. When she asked to go pick flowers for her mother, Jack said no. The zombies were back. He went outside to pick them himself and found a doll Patrick had taken from the warehouse, meant as a gift for Lou. Over the radio, the mysterious voice now pushed Patrick toward violence, urging him to kill Jack. Later, Lou crawled out of bed and slipped through the hole in the fence to place flowers on the dog's grave. A zombie emerged from the trees. She fired but dropped the gun. Jack arrived just in time, beating the zombie relentlessly until it stopped moving. Patrick appeared, aiming a gun at Jack, but shot the zombie behind him instead. Patrick revealed the zombies were evolving. The cold no longer killed them. Their skin had hardened. They were blind, but alive, and no longer contagious. Lou later invited Patrick to dinner over walkie-talkie, and he excitedly shaved and cleaned himself up. At dinner, he brought meat and the doll Jack had found. Lou loved it instantly. After she slept, Patrick told Jack he wanted to repair the truck and leave Harmony. Jack refused. Patrick argued he was so focused on surviving that he'd forgotten how to live. Jack asked why Patrick hadn't left already. Patrick didn't answer. He only glanced toward Lou. After Patrick left, Jack remembered finding Emma dead years ago and taking baby Lou away from Patrick, claiming he was no longer her father. The next day, Lou told Jack she dreamed he died and she was left alone. Jack realized staying was no longer an option. They agreed to leave with Patrick. While gathering supplies at the warehouse, Patrick relived the guilt of abandoning Emma earlier in the outbreak. After returning to the truck, the group spotted a lone woman in the distance. Patrick approached and calmed her down, then brought her home. She told them her story, her family surviving the first year, joining others up north, getting pregnant, then losing everyone in a zombie attack. When she heard the chained zombie outside, she warned that its howl was a signal. Soon, others howled in response. The house was locked down, weapons drawn. Lou hid in the basement. A blind zombie prowled nearby, but she stayed silent. Upstairs, Jack fought one off, losing his gun. Lou, using her quick thinking, lured a zombie into a chest and locked it inside. The woman blasted loud music to overwhelm the zombie's enhanced hearing. When the power died, the group realized their ammo was almost gone. Lou remembered a voice on her radio telling her to go to Spring Falls. Zombies swarmed the house. Patrick made the decision himself. He kissed Lou goodbye, lit a flare, grabbed Jack's shotgun, and ran into the night yelling to draw the zombies away. Jack hurried Lou and the woman into the truck. Patrick reached the fuel barrels as monsters closed in. One jumped him, and the world exploded in fire. His sacrifice gave them their escape. At dawn, Jack, Lou, and the woman stood by the roadside and watched the sun rise over the frozen horizon, finally leaving Harmony behind.